There we go. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories, and I'm here with my bro Logan. How goes it, bro?
Hey Ken, how you doing? Having a great day here on Cayman Islands, and glad to see that you're back and back home and making really good content.
Thanks, man. Yeah, dude. I'm jealous. I'm back in Jersey right now, where it's fucking snowing, and you got a beach right outside your window. So, I'll try to hold that resentment behind me in this conversation. But I see that you have that Hercules banner up there. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and introduce Hercules?
Hey, so Hercules is a platform, decentralized application that rests on a set of protocols and smart contracts that help eradicate racketeering and collusion in the supply chain. So, aiming for transparency, data integrity, and ease of use.
Yeah, and you're the CTO, right?
I am. I've been leading a global force of development for about a year and 3 months now, and we're just really happy to bring our content to the mainnet.
How'd you get into this space? I don't even know if I ever got your background story, because we met, for everybody watching, we met a while back at one of the decentralized art shows in, I think it was Austin, Texas, right?
It was.
Yeah, so we got to meet a while ago, and I've been following AnthemGold and the Hercules project for a little bit. You've been at a few of the conferences I've been at, but I don't know. What's your origin story, man? What drew you into Bitcoin? How'd you get here?
Well, I am Logan, so let's go origin story. I've really just been a coder, a programmer my whole life. I started doing Python scripting at Lockheed Martin classes when I was 14 years old. Went from that to when the iPhone came out, started deving on Xcode and doing C# for apps.
Oh,
So
wow.
like right when all that stuff came out, when Bitcoin came out in 2009, I was senior in high school. So I was the kid back in high school that was like, y'all don't even know. Like, you don't know what's going to come and what's going to happen. And there's some people that listened to me back then, but when I went to university, it was kind of the same thing. Most of the coding languages they were teaching, I already knew. So I was just able to kind of fly by and focus on Bitcoin and blockchain. And then, when Ethereum came out, I knew that was like really the game changer. So I started Bitcoin Brigade, which was a 501c3 kind of to do like focus groups in the Midwest in the United States, and just see like how people would react to Bitcoin, blockchain, and how they could, get into the community, just teaching other university students how to use it, adoption.
How do you see those people reacting to the technology?
Back then, I mean, the whole scope, and I think anybody that's been in the space for this long, it's kind of exactly what Satoshi said on Bitcoin Talk forums. It's like, if you don't believe me, I don't have time to explain it to you. But I had enough time, right? Like, I was able to go out there and push for adoption, push for mass adoption with decentralized art shows, which was something that I had helped found. And then during the time, I also had Blockchain Exchange. So Blockchain Exchange, there's this exchange, but then I didn't have a bit license, and that's kind of why I moved to Texas. And then that's when it all changed for me. I met Anthem Blanchard at a Ethereum meetup using the Meetup app, and from there, that it was either I could have worked for IBM or I could have worked for and with Anthem Blanchard. And it turned into, going to the Anthem bunker, seeing what the gold vault would eventually be and look like. And then from there, taking all of the research and development that his teams had provided in, I want to say 5 or 6 years of development, and then just expanding it into what we have today.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. It sucks that regulations is like how you ended up where you're at. You got regulated out of an idea that you found it because you didn't have a bit license and all this crap. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. And I try to stress the importance of going to meetups, and I probably talk about it in every one of my videos because it just comes up. And you, from a meetup to a CTO with a company, man, that's pretty badass. And that's how young we are in this industry. So guys, if you're in the tech space, I'm urging you to go to a local meetup. Just go to meetups.com, start a meetup, join a meetup, and you can expand your reach in this industry. So you've been to a lot of these conferences and stuff, man. What are some some of the sketchier projects you've seen? Because you know your shit. Like, when you look at a project, you really know what to look for. You know what, like, the tech is, if it's sustainable tech or if it's insustainable tech, if it's vaporware tech. So what are some of the projects that you've seen that look like they got a lot of limelight this year that should maybe be looked at more by their investors?
Oh man, so I was in I was in Japan for the Slush event, and there was a lot of good technology there. There was AR, VR, different things for remittance and different non-financial technology. But what kind of stood out to me was how involved Ripple was, in that they had this huge booth and they had all of this exposure. And in the area, Ripple's gotten really big. But then again, those that understand, how centralized it is, where the technology grows, and also to meet their devs, it just stood out that they were kind of saddened and burdened.
Yeah,
it seemed.
I bet, man. Well,
but if space, when it comes to Hercules, we're more than welcome to vet you, try you out, and bring you on the team.
Yeah, people really should know the importance and the difference between Ripple and true decentralized projects. And I feel like a lot of the people that got into Ripple don't understand that they control the supply. They can, dump on the market whenever they want, and they will, trust me. They don't want the coin to be worth much, and if it does, they're going to dump on you and then buy it back at the dip that they cause. That's just how these companies roll, because Ripple is a company that can control XRP, the digital token. It's not even a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of this regulated control come out in the stable coin. So like US dollar coin, Gemini coin. If you look into the source
Coinbase
code,
partnered with Circle Pay to make USDC, and it's crazy.
Absolutely.
And
the code was provided by Centre, CENTRE. You can go to their GitHub and you can actually see blacklisting and pausable smart contracts, so that people can be the minters, be the people that stop other addresses from utilizing the US dollar coin.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. That check that out, guys. I'll try to put a link to all that in the comments or in the description when we're done. So on a different end of that coin, what are some of the projects that you've run into that you're excited for, and what makes you feel like they actually have what it takes?
Something that really stood out to me was, and I think I met them at the first time in San Francisco at Block to the Future, was Guardium. And Guardium is a NEO asset, which has a ecosystem that helps people. So it's kind of like 911 on the blockchain. If you have an issue, anybody on this platform can really, be the hero.
Dude, I've had an idea about that for a while, like Neighborhood Watch 2.0 on the blockchain. Gamify the whole, you watch my back, I watch your back, incentivize, positive, reputation in that economy and reward it. And it sounds like that's what they're doing. What's the name of it again?
Guardium. It's on Neo.
All right, that's pretty cool. And, a lot of people are like, oh, we don't have to blockchain everything, blah, blah, blah. But not everything needed an app back, and now there's an app for everything. And there's plenty of apps that help people when they're in need. I know there's this one that was on Shark Tank that if you're, like, in trouble, you, like, hit a button and it, like, takes a picture and sends a text to, like, local. I don't know. It's all kinds of crazy stuff they can do now.
And there's a, this is a funny story, is the first time I came down here and I got this new phone, there's a setting where you can set people as your emergency contacts. And there was a guy walking down the street. He must have come off of a cruise ship. He had a Bitcoin Moon shirt on.
Yeah, sweet.
And he's standing, and I was like, he was trying to cross the road, and I was just trying to like take my phone out to take a picture of him. And I was like, and I hit this button 3 times, and it sent to my 3 emergency contacts a picture from here, a picture from here, and my exact location, and a message that said, "Hey, I need some help."
What?
And who did it send to was Adela, my attorney, my mother, and my girlfriend. So it was it was the first person who got back to me was Adela Toulon.
That's a great attorney.
Of Cogent Law. She's been a Bitcoin OG for such a long time that she understands the paths necessary for regulators to come to a head on innovation. And anybody that needs needs counsel in this space, because it's very important. Adela, for sure, you can get a hold of me.
Yeah, I saw that you're an advisor to a law firm, it looks like. You wanted to touch on that a little bit? What was that like? Because how do you advise to them? Because they don't know crap about this space. Like, are you in there blowing minds left and right?
Yeah, so I mean, this came about when I was at the PolyCon in the Bahamas.
I wish I made that.
It was beautiful. It was really well thought out, to the extent where I can do analysis quickly on a project, from high level white paper ideology to economics to smart contract source code, whether it's ready or not. I'm not doing full audits for Cogent, but it's been the ability to just say, hey, this is where these people need to go. This is the path, and they've been really thoughtful in the advisement role.
So where do you see like the space going forward with regulations? Do you see it being over-regulated, or do you feel like that no touch, no hinder approach will really be left on the table?
A lot of people have seen crypto, blockchain economics as the ultimate capitalism. Laissez-faire has always been really good for our ecosystem and our economy. But when it comes to how many years have we been developing this technology, which it hasn't even been 10 yet, and how early on we still are when it comes to innovating the financial technology space, there's already so many regulations that have been lined up because developers or even users just don't understand what needs to happen. And as a species, we've always built upon iterations of our past, learning from either mistakes or learning from triumphs. And it's when you have those that are paid to be concerned about the general population, which are the regulators, that have to curtail some sort of appeasement to the people. And then you have, on the other side, you have developers and scientists and providers that are, innovating past what rules they set. I think it's always going to be a dichotomy. There's always going to be, it's not us and them. It's just we.
Right.
It's this side and that side. And, once we understand that and we come together as a species, we can move on from, really detrimental issues that scorn us today.
I really feel like a worldwide, not just like currency like Bitcoin, but technology language like either Solidity or whatever it may be, where we can communicate without going through third-party escrow or translators of some sort, where we can be we without going through them. There's so many channels where they try to manipulate or enforce their agendas by setting terms and agreements that, funnel it one way or the other. And this technology is really opening it up for everyone to, utilize from bottom up, top down. We're seeing, individuals in poverty-stricken worlds utilizing this, as well as, the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance and the millions that they're throwing at it. So this is for everybody. How do you use this though? Like, what are some of the ways you use tech? Do you use cryptocurrencies to spend on a daily? Do you trade? Like, how are you playing dApps? Like, how do you, use the tech?
Yeah, so I've been playing Crypto Zombies on the Loom network.
That's pretty cool.
It's an amazing game. Crypto Kitties was really fun. Looking at, how much time I have to sit, review code, and go over things that we are going on. It's been it's been easy to, congratulate and, applaud our colleagues, people in the space that are either on testnet or on mainnet. But it has been difficult to kind of go out and, be like a full-time user of blockchain. Although, I didn't get an HTC Exodus, so I'm waiting for your unboxing on that. I'm an American, so I do have a BitPay card, something that, they've opened up to the US citizens. So go on BitPay if you want to spend your Bitcoin all day.
Yeah, that's what I use.
They need to do some sort of marketing where somebody's at a grocery store and they've got 30 seconds to sell Bitcoin onto their card to buy, $200 worth of groceries, and it works. And as soon as you show people that they can buy food with it, it's game over. Do a Super Bowl ad for 15 seconds and it just shows BitPay.
Unfortunately, Coinbase has it a little bit better, and I don't like it, but I use it. It's the Shift card, Shift payments, yeah. And I like it differently than the BitPay because Shift lets you hold your crypto in the wallet, and it has the ability to do a pull, which like totally defeats the purpose. I get that. But, you can pull from your Bitcoin wallet at the point of swipe, so you don't have to do a pre-sale. So I don't know, for me that was a little bit cooler than having to sit there and I don't know, I feel dirty when I sell. I'm just like, ugh.
You're right. With Shift I wasn't able to because I just don't use Coinbase.
Yeah, but that's why I don't like it. I don't really like Coinbase.
Yeah. Well, they've been around and they understand the market, and it seems like they're going to be the US regulatory mission for the space. So it wouldn't be smart to get on their bad side.
Well, I check out the competition like Uphold. Uphold's pretty cool. They got a lot coming out, and they're I think they got an app and everything now. So Uphold's pretty good competition to Coinbase. Who else? Simplex. I mean, they're on the Edge wallet. If you have your Edge wallet, you can actually buy Bitcoin in the wallet now through the Simplex thing. Yeah. It's a little expensive.
And yeah, they've got a premium on it, but everybody's got to make their cut. What's really cool is that the Edge team has allowed us to use their software developers kit and their APIs to build our D app with their wallet.
That's really cool, Paul. Shout out to Paul Puey.
Any Edge wallet will open up in a HERC app.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Really nice feature. Augur's using it, and we kind of saw that their success in leveraging the software developers kit on mainnet. It was a good time.
That's one of those situations where teamwork makes the dream work right there. Like, I like that about the space. And there's not... See, people got to realize there are competition, but the competition's more complement than compete right now. It's so early.
Yeah, as long as, you understand the scientific and that development takes time, being friendly to other scientists and being in the Slack and inviting people to Google Meets and just really honing in on what the technology is capable of, we just keep moving forward.
Yeah, dude, that's the only direction to go. Like again though, like moving forward, what are your hopes? What are your worries? What do you got your eye on? Is it the SolidX ETF or what? You're looking at bracket?
A lot of that stuff I don't really pay attention to. A lot of good content out of DevCon 4. Vitalik's headline keynote was really informative on like where Ethereum 2.0, how far they are, what that's going to incorporate.
He's really fighting for proof of stake, man.
It's a lot more environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
And we're looking at what that move would take, and then we're also as a team just trying to research if the Shios EOS 21 protocol to kind of teleport your ERC20 tokens into EOS is a good option. So we're looking at the myriad of technologies that are coming out in the space from our colleagues and defining what our path should be accordingly, because you have an open source world. You don't have to it's not that you don't have to, but you can rely on the colleagues in the space, and it's been very, very friendly, to say the least, because whether the price is up, the price is down, the technology is winning. It's taking over the planet, and the developers that have made it happen over the past 8-9 years are just applauding, like, every single time.
Yeah, and we lost a lot of people, like, from the beginning to different projects, that from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash to the Bitcoin Satoshi's vision now. I mean, what are your thoughts on this whole forking fiasco? Are you keeping your eye on that? Like, with your holdings, what are you doing? Did you split your coins, or do you even have BC? Like, I don't even. It's such a non-event for me because I dumped my BCH the moment I got them from my original Bitcoin.
It's such a. It is that the word fiasco. That was a really good word for it, because, I mean, it's the longest timeline, Bitcoin blockchain, the longest chain in of itself. To change some opcodes, to change a little bit of block size, it's the developer's prerogative, right? It's an MIT license. There's no permission needed to do anything to the original Bitcoin blockchain, as long as you fork it and don't screw up the master branch on the repos. Core has those abilities. But anytime anybody comes out with an Ethereum sidechain, nobody goes crazy, because free ETH isn't being given away. It's something for the Bitcoin chain and do the chain split. So it's also another way, because we have this like pool of people that are all in the space, and those different pools of people become, how long have you been in the space versus how much do you know versus
the tribes.
How much don't you know, and the different tribes. And when you look at how new people can be confused, when Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold came out last year, it was the same noise in the entire space. And now that it's Craig Wright and Roger Ver, two very powerful people in the space that have their own thoughts and ideas on what Bitcoin should be, and then you have Jihan Wu with hash power. I mean, it's up in the air on like what fork is going to be the best, longest, most data integrous chain, and currently I see it as Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I do get worried about
Bitcoin from 2009.
I do get worried for Bitcoin's sake. Like you said, we have all these, self-appointed deities in this space that are trying to project their ideologies onto the noobs that don't understand that, consensus is one thing and one person's opinion is another. And this could be very expensive for Jihan to go against the grain here, but they could afford it. Unfortunately, they could be sort of financial terrorists in this sense of attacking the Bitcoin blockchain. But, we'll still survive. I know we will. Unfortunately for them, Roger's seen it firsthand what happens when you try to go against Bitcoin, and he's feeling it. I don't know when he's going to start saying BTC, Bitcoin, is the real Bitcoin or what, but I know it's not going to be too long from now.
Yeah, and this is why we've really chosen to leverage Factom as a way to tie our transaction anchors into the original Bitcoin blockchain.
Can you explain Factom for the listeners, just in case, because we're talking about different coins, and I just want them to understand the difference.
So Factom is it's a project that works to put information into the Bitcoin blockchain. There's the factoids, which are their kind of their market token, and then there's the all-important entry credit, which you can get for so many for one factoid. So how we leverage it is like a notary that kind of says, okay, all this happened over here on HERC, and we're going to hash it and then stamp it into factum, which stamps it into the Bitcoin blockchain every time the new block. And then, there's block headers that can move from here to here to here, and then you can just kind of trace it back. So it's like we're putting Ethereum anchors into Bitcoin.
So if one blockchain were to have an issue, you could always go to another blockchain to get your data.
Yeah, absolutely. And how we have it is a least cost routing protocol. So as more chains that are like data storage, like we use IPFS and storage right now. But if something becomes cheaper, like, SIA coin for storage, we would be able to say, okay, right now we're weighing that it costs this much to go here and it costs this much to go here, and it's going to go here because it's cheaper. And then it's usually for the user to decide.
SIA coin's pretty cool, but I don't know if it's going to be something that's for individuals. I feel like there'll be secondary projects for that, but I could see SIA coin being more for companies and corporations to use to kind of replace their centralized trust systems of storage. It's going to be expensive, but the security it offers is worth the savings that you'd have to hedge against the traditional storage options.
Right, and with HERC, although it is usable at the the ground level, it's developed for for the precious metals industry, and it was seen to be generalized so that we can have the mass population understand that supply chain on blockchain is possible. And when we look at our verticals that'll be coming out, the enterprises that want to leverage this are very understanding of the data integrity that Hercules can provide.
Well, what kind of use cases do you see supply chains when utilizing blockchain technology? Why, again, people always say, why blockchain this thing? Why do we need the blockchain that? Blah, blah, blah. Why does everything need a DApp? But I do personally see a lot of use for supply chains to utilize blockchain. But what are some of the things that you're looking at that could really solve problems, or what you're imagination is going forward? When you look at this space and you see supply chain utilizing blockchain technology, gamifying it with cryptocurrencies, how's that look for you?
It's kind of what you said earlier, is how not everything needed an app, and now it's just commonplace. And when we look at supply chain, the things that people leverage, like bills of lading, or tallies, shipping ports,
yep.
Trucking industries, everything's kind of still on paper. And I see it firsthand here, with the Port Authority and the customs, is that it takes so long and it's all on paper. And with blockchain, it's kind of just one piece of it. It's the data integrity piece of it.
Yeah, that's important.
The smart contract piece of it, which can lead to automation. And once we have more availability to, we have IoT as well. So once you put IoT, automation, blockchain, and smart contracts, and maybe a little bit of AI, it's going to drastically reduce the manpower needed to run a port, or to run, a terminal for trucks, or anything that can be really leveraged in a mundane, it's really mundane physical labor, right? Like operating a crane. Maybe you need one or two operators on site, and you don't need the 10 people, which is going to lead to a loss of manpower, manual labor jobs. But it's also going to open up, and it already has, hundreds of thousands of new positions, if not millions of new positions globally, for people to learn a task that isn't manual or mundane.
Yeah, I think the industrial economy's kind of run its course, in the IoT and the AI of the all of that. The Internet of Things is changing the industrial industry and really flourishing and fertilizing the ability for the attention economy, where we have these micro tasks where Uber exists, Airbnb exists. I mean, shit, look at Ninja and Twitch with Fortnite. Holy crap. People have now time to capitalize with attention, you know, and that's really what's going to happen. But you said something that really triggered me, where you said the data integrity of you know, the supply chain. I get worried when I hear data integrity on a blockchain, because we really haven't solved the problem of garbage in, garbage out. And I think that you touched on that too when you said that we have IoT. So we stop letting people write down on paper this data that they've fucking lied 100 times on, because somebody, you know, fucked up and they don't want to get their partner fired who forgot to turn the refrigerator on. That's why the cabbage went bad. So they said they got it that way, you know, and now they have to prove A to B. And it's, you know, a lot of these problems can be solved when we use IoT, a trustless, you know, data provider that really provides data integrity when we use the blockchain. And when it comes to supply, you have labor, you know, data from labor to quality, proof of actual, like with gold, you have to prove where did it come from, you know. And it's right now a lot of it's hard to have a true history of your gold, to know like where it really came from. People have smelted things a million times and used the same number 10. So when you go to have your certificate authenticated, it's like, well, this was just, somebody has this gold already. How do you have this gold?
Yeah, man. You know, proving provenance in on an asset has been really sought after. You know, if you have, like you said, a gold bar, if you have a piece of art, if you have, you know, a Hermes bag, you know, people like to know where their food came from. You know, there's IBM's Food Save. IBM has thrown hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars into ensuring the entire supply chain on a private blockchain. You know, there's controversy there.
They've been marketing that heavily. I've been watching. They have ads on TV, billboards, airplanes, IBM blockchain solution.
Yep. I think they had some IoT investigate on some ad news network. I'm not sure, but it is something that has been heavily sought after by Maersk, by, you know, rail stations. You know, supply chain is the global value chain, and it is the ability to just understand where, you know, the threads in my shirt came from.
So where does the utility token fall into all of this? Like, you know,
so the HERC token has functions built into the protocol for you know, the ability to create an asset, to track an asset, to transfer the asset, to you know, pay for the data. You know, when you're using in the project or in the platform itself, there's so many kilobytes is worth so many HERC tokens, as you know, our economics are described in our academic paper. And it has always been my dream to just have a project that keeps evolving and keeps iterating and understands you know, the paths necessary to fulfill our roadmap. So there's a 12-quarter roadmap on our website, herc.one, that defines where we're going to be in the next three months, 6 months, 9 months, and you know, how we're really understanding what's necessary to move forward in global value chain. So we're going to be doing some test pilots with shipping containers. You know, we're about to release an MOU on that, talking to a trucking company on, you know, how we can track movements, even, you know, if it's just on this island. It's still big enough to say, okay, the IoT sensor went from here to there. Thermal sensors.
So this is all that trustless IoT stuff I was talking about.
Absolutely. You know, having a terminal operating system for ports to work on and utilize the blockchain in a very seamless and user-friendly way. You know, people have to really, you know, understand that full-on blockchain user adoption, mass user adoption, everyday life is going to be the next 5 years of development, with some big changes coming in, you know, the early to mid 2020s. The mid 20s. It's fun to be able to say that. Did you ever think that, you know, people 1,000, 100 years ago would understand any of what we're accomplishing today.
No, I always said that if you grabbed one of your great grandparents and brought them into today's society, they would be like, well, where's the flying cars already? You know, like they would be so confused. They'd be like, wow, this is so advanced and unadvanced at the same time. Because we advanced in different directions than we intended back then. They would have thought we would have had, self-sustaining economies without having so much waste. They would have thought we passed the whole coal thing by now. Renewable energy. What? How's that not a thing? Well, we were really stuck on boner pills and hairspray that made your hair grow back. But once we figured that out, we really started nailing this whole biodegradable plastic thing, and we were just 10 years too late. But I really feel like now, though, the kids that are being born into this tech, you can hand a 5-year-old an iPad that never seen an iPad before, and just by instinct they can use it. They know how it works because it's just in their DNA now somehow. This tool, this technology, it's so ubiquitous to life that years from now people are going to be like, how did we live without this solution to trustlessness on the internet? How did people survive with so much trustlessness? How do you survive in a space where nobody's accountable and data is free and spam is everywhere?
Yeah, it's the culmination of our entire civilization and our society as a whole.
That dude, credit cards ain't even 70 or something years old. That's still fairly new tech that sucks.
And imagine the Jetsons was supposed to be the year 2000.
It's disappointing. I still want escalator floors like everywhere I go. Like when I'm at the airport and they're not working, it's kind of like the biggest first world problem ever for me.
Like, how am I supposed to get down this hallway?
Yeah, I'm looking at him like, but it's out of order. The hallway is out of order. I can't. Just gonna wait for one of those taxi driver guys to ride by and just hitch a ride like one of the trolleys in the 60s or something.
Yeah.
They don't like that. Don't do that.
You got to be happy that you're not traveling as much.
Yeah.
What are you gonna come out with for your community?
Next month I'm doing the Satoshi's Ball. That is right there in your corner, being displayed as a watermark by justlearncrypto.com. I'll be there December 15th. It's like a 12-hour party. It's not like a conference. It's more like a gathering of like-minded individuals. We're going to have like a speed dating meeting thing, and then we're just going to party all night and shoot the shit about, the space and have a good time. But after this year, I think I'm staying stationary and just focusing on this podcasting thing more. Try to do one of these every day, one video a week on tutorials and stuff like that moving forward. But I think after this year, I'm stationary. I'm tired. I've been to 40 conferences. I'm tired.
Oh man, yeah. I got tired very fast, and it wasn't detrimental because I've always been a digital nomad and been able to code on the go. But it's nice to be able to sit and create content in a steady pace. And I'm sure your community will be very, will very appreciate that.
Oh, dude, I've been hella inspired by my travels and the people I've met and the content creators I've been keeping an eye on that I just haven't had the time to really put into my content. So I just been like putting it on the back burner and trying to really just invest in myself more than my content, trying to build myself up higher in knowledge so I can do more content and quality content when I do have the time. And that's what I'm giving myself after this year, is more time to make quality content. Like, I feel like the stuff I used to do back before I quit my day job was better than after I quit my day job, because I just kept moving. I never stayed the frig still, man. I was in Texas like 4 or 5 times this year. The last time I've been to Texas, I got arrested. So I don't think I'll ever go back to Texas. I'm sorry, right. Texas Bitcoin Conference. I love you guys. Shout out to Marco Pierboom and Paul Snow of Factum and them guys who put that all together. I can't. Sir. I cannot go back to Texas ever again. Never.
Hey, well, big roads, big skies.
Well, where are you headed next? What's up with you? What's your roadmap look like as an individual? And then I wanted to touch on the roadmap for Hercules a little bit. But what's up with you? Where are you headed? What are you doing?
Yeah, I've just been, here in the islands, just making sure that the development pace is keeping steady. planning out some things myself. When it comes to conferences, man, I can't say I can find myself at them because I've been able to do these podcasts now, and I'm very thankful that you brought me on. We got invited to the North American Bitcoin Conference, but I'm not sure, to be honest.
Well, I've been running into a lot of people from your team at different conferences. Even if you didn't have like a booth represented, there was somebody there that I ran into that recognized either the pin on my hat or they just noticed me from, interacting with the project on Twitter or something.
Yeah, I think you got to hang out with IJ at the World CryptoCon.
Yeah, that was cool. I got to run into him. Yeah, and I ran into one of your buddies at an airport one time too because I missed my friggin' flight.
From Toronto, eh?
Yeah. That was
JR.
Yeah, that was a weird situation because I literally was in line. You're messaging me. Everybody's hitting me up saying, dude, the airport's calling your name. And I'm in the airport like, I know they're calling my name. I don't know if I should act like I'm not me or if I should go tell them, hey, I'm right here. Like, I didn't know if I should hide or if I should be like, oh, I'm over here. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
because I'm me.
You've had some issues in the past.
Yeah, but it turns out, actually, if I would have just said, hey, I'm me, what they would have done is escorted me in a rush to a flight that was leaving 10 minutes from that announcement, which was a direct flight to Philadelphia where I was going instead of having 2 layovers that I got stuck with because of weather change. Oh, man. So, yeah.
That was conference weekend, though, with the... what was that? The Untraceable event.
Futurists with Larry King and all them. I mean, that was a great conference. Even Max Kaiser came out and was doing like a whole show on the pier with Toronto behind him. It was a really cool conference. And they had like the Cabana party. That was fun. Anthem was there. Yeah. Anthem was there. I remember him.
It was a really nice, well thought out conference with the way that the stages were set, the way that the people had their booths. I wanted to ask you, is there going to be any booths at the Satoshi's Ball?
We have a few sponsors that want to do something like that, but we told them it's not really like a shill kind of event. It's going to be loud noise. We're going to have a little bit of interaction, but there might be a few. There's local companies that have sponsored the event that may show up to have representation there, but they know it's not really a conference. There's no speakers. There's no panels. It's just a big meetup. There's an open bar, and then there's also an option for people that for like the more businessy guys, if they want a booth like where they can sit down and have bottle service, we have the VIP offer for that. Like the conference where we're hosting this is an actual like collab space with like 40 different businesses operating out of it. They accept Bitcoin, and they have given us office space to run like Just Learn Crypto podcast out of. So like it's really cool. They even have a Bitcoin ATM machine, so it's there all the time. But at the Satoshi's Ball, we'll have that ATM there.
This is in Ottawa, right?
Yeah, man. Canada's really crypto friendly. That's why I'm about to like flip my HERC token here, heads and tails, to see if I should move to Canada forever, because I see so much potential there, especially as like somebody as like a crypto content creator goes. The companies, the regulations, just the way everything has seemed to be going in Canada is in the right direction. I feel like there's a lot more growth potential up there than there is in the US. I mean, I'm sure you don't see much potential here. It's sort of like a brain drain right now, where they're incentivizing the smartest in the industry to get the hell out and do business in a Cayman Island somewhere.
Hey, it's kind of just the whole facade that the United States have put on its people for, quite some time. Economic imprisonment of mass amounts of people, not really fighting for personal agency, but just trying to control a populace. But with Canada, you have a big Ethereum developers community, and it's really where Ethereum was first conceptualized.
So are you like an Ethereum maximalist, or do you see potential in competition where it comes like EOS and Cardano and other smart contract hosting blockchains?
I mean, when I hear maximalist, I kind of see dollar signs, but it's been kind of the speculation of cryptos that has driven a lot of innovation, because a lot more money has come into the space to be able to hire developers that might have ideas or push ideas out into the world.
Ethereum's definitely got that money.
I'm in it for the scientific method when it comes to, if there's a hypothesis that's out there and it gets well tested and then it gets implemented, and the ability to do one thing a different way that still works. I mean,
sounds like proof of work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into any system that operates and is in production. Shout out to my global team of developers and my global team of community developers, as well as admin and accountants and legal and everybody that makes HERC operate and function, as it is today, and how it will continue to evolve. I'm here as, the leader of development, but I'm humbled by everybody that's around me.
Yeah, and what Hercules is doing with the supply chain and like with the project with AnthemGold, we actually I did an interview recently with Anthem. So Anthem Blanchard, you can check out in the description box below. There is a link to that video where we go more into detail about AnthemGold and Hercules and where the supply chain fits in. I wanted to talk a little bit more technical with you there. When it comes to building a supply chain, what are some of the biggest hurdles you've had to overcome, and what are some of the ones you're still trying to overcome that's just a matter of time, because the tech is so early that brick walls are inevitable. I'm just wondering, what were some of yours were from there till now, because you've been doing this for over a year, and what are some that you're hopeful you will overcome as the tech goes forward and grows?
Yeah, I think it would be user experience. The expected experience of, say, a legacy shipping partner on a port somewhere in, oh, my phone's dying. What?
We may have lost Logan. This is the live chat problems that I will run into on streaming with strangers. I'll use this time to actually plug the ability to come on my YouTube podcast. This what you're seeing right now is an open platform for anybody and everybody. Oh, there we go.
2 phones.
2 phones. I was just telling everybody that they could go to my Twitter account and click on that link, and they could come on the YouTube channel just like you have. Not being paid by Hercules. I don't charge anybody any money. I just want to talk to people about things, and it's an open platform conversation. So go to my Twitter.
Yeah, come on, ask me questions.
Yeah. Oh, my hi mom. My grandmom's in the chat. She's enjoying the conversation. So yeah, so what were some of the hurdles you had to overcome, and what are some of the hurdles you have right now but will be able to overcome? And you were saying that the user interface, the GUI.
Yeah, so it was really the user experience and the expected, like having the expected experience of an app. Someone that is a legacy centralized database app supply chain user says, okay, hey, I want to use HERC. I want to see what this is about. And it's been going to those industry professionals and understanding and being advised of, okay, we're actually expecting this to happen when we provide this sort of information. So iterating and testing and going back and saying, okay, what is it that we should really have this look like? And that's really been the biggest hurdle. The tech has all been there. All of our providers have been stable, IPFS, Factom, storage, and Ethereum. And then, the ones that we want to, continue to go over is just how can we make this better than it is today? Yep. And how can we have, people understand how to use it, what it's used for. So we're going to be coming out with, overlay tutorials for the app itself. We're going to come out with some quick start guides, beginners guides, people that are developers that want to work on the API, how to really build it. A lot of our GitHub repositories do have build notes. And we do have our academic paper that goes over, it's kind of like a yellow paper, what our vision is, and what we have currently. So really it's just going to be the user adoption is the hurdle, because that's just the biggest thing in blockchain is everybody that jumps on board and they're finally convinced about it gets wrecked on 2 days ago. You know, they're like, what happened? Because they don't understand what's really going on. They just see greens and reds, but they finally said, okay, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. I'm going to get into this blockchain thing. And then you have collusive members of, you know, Bitcoin demagoguery screwing the network up. So it, you know, that's always going to be difficult.
One of the issues I think that a lot of these utility token platforms have is the on-ramp too. You know, going from fiat to crypto, from crypto to an exchange, changing to the... So like, how is there any way Hercules is working on trying to solve that solution with an easier on-ramp? Because I wanted to see if that was like something that you were working on, because that's another user hurdle, right? When it comes to the user interfaces, they want to use the platform, but they don't want to have to go to 3 different exchanges to figure out how to on-ramp fiat, get this Bitcoin, trade it for Ethereum, trade the Ethereum for the ERC20, and, you know, all of that. That's just too much for some people.
It is. It's a lot for people. Even just making an account and having to, you know, remember 12 words, or, you know, even just making an account and having to remember a password, or let alone a PIN.
I'm dealing with that.
It's like everybody's level of, you know, where their cognition allows them to go when it comes to, you know, cryptography or simple to use, you know, cryptos. We have, just as HERC is utilized like data, we have a top-up platform, so you can go and sign up, and then you'll be in there with your Edge account, and your Edge account links directly to the platform, links directly to the top-up platform, and it's where you can just go and top up HERCs whenever you need them. And when in the platform itself, you can go all the way up to when you need to submit to the blockchain and use Hercules tokens. It'll say, hey, sorry, you don't have enough. You need this many, top up here, and it goes right into it. It's all seamless. So we've done that to the effect because we understood this exact issue. And then it really, you know, there's only so much man hours and brain power. So we're working steadily on getting it very easy to use, tutorials and quick start guides.
So just to wrap things up, maybe let everybody know where you're hosted, like what exchanges is HERC listed on, and just a little bit more about like where they can go to find some more information, use the platform, stuff like that.
So everything that you would want to know about our project, our platform, our protocol, you can find on herc.one. So that's herc.one, and we're helping eradicate racketeering and collusion in supply chains through open public blockchain. You can find out any news, any listings. Our source code is all open source. It's on GitHub. Developer resources. We're coming out with new outlets for content every day. So just stick to herc.one, and that's all you need.
All right, man. Cool. Now, I did want to touch a little bit on the art space and supply chain, because that's kind of like how we met. And I always thought it would be cool to see more of these independent artists utilizing, you know, blockchain solutions for their artwork, to tokenize art, to make a digital image, tokenize it, and prove that ownership of it. If I have this image, I'm the only person who has ownership of this image, even if somebody screenshot it, fakes they have ownership, they can't transfer ownership because I have the private key. Now, how do you see the art industry and supply chain moving forward?
My advice to anybody that's trying to do that sort of thing would be to create a protocol or a set of mechanisms in which, when the artist goes to the platform to use the platform, and they say, this is my art, I'm uploading a digital piece of art, or I'm taking a picture of it, it creates an NFT in that transaction. So it creates a crypto kitty that then says, this is mine, right? You know, you can either make it divisible or non-divisible if you want to sell it fractionalized. But that's my advice. When it comes to making that happen, there's a lot that goes into making that happen. I think building out the marketplace would be a lot more financially responsible on a team to do that. So, there's projects in the space that are, promoting art and artists accepting, crypto for their art. And then there's projects that are making marketplaces. And then there's projects that are doing provenance and ownership. All of them just need to come together. Like if it were me, if it were the open, the open source world that I want to live in, like all the supply chain blockchains would be like, yeah, we're just gonna be one big brain consortium.
Well, they need some hyperledger of some sort to bring them all together where they can communicate and not have to worry about false data being implemented into and hurting another blockchain's credibility. That's why they want to do all these centralized, closed networks right now. Until we can solve the trustlessness of the data I don't feel like we're going to get past that point. But I was talking to an artist, shout out to Nanu Burks. I was talking to her, how cool it would be to have like a private key on a canvas. Somebody paints over the private key, and then it's auctioned off at how much ever crypto was put on the public address. So now the art is, say 1 Bitcoin is put on that private key's public address. That piece of art's worth tangibly 1 Bitcoin. And now you have to either destroy the art to get to the private key or enjoy the art as is and leave the crypto resting where it's at.
A lot of people have used steganography to hide their crypto and art. There is crypto art, which, would put that private key right there for you. And, this is kind of where the decentralized art shows was growing out of. And, hopefully those that are continuing the rallies for that project will be able to, bring the virtual reality landscapes that were being designed. And it was really fun availability for, to get the local community involved and then get the artists involved. And it was more of a mass adoption test.
Some of the best conversations I've ever had at over 40 cryptocurrency blockchain conferences and events were at like a decentralized art show with artists, because they have, like, once you start to talk about a technology or anything, like, they're so creative. There are no limits. You can't say, well, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I didn't know. I thought you said it was, blah, blah, blah. But like, you're right. It doesn't work now, but maybe if somebody were to build that piece, it would, because it's so young tech that, the only thing that's stopping us is our ability to be creative. So many people are like, that's not possible. And that's where things and ideas die and end, is with, can't.
And that's where I kind of stopped the interview. Someone saying that's not possible, because it really is possible. I mean, if everything that we have today, from, a piece of glass in mechanical technology where, like, I'm looking into this to speak to you, to speak to your community, is possible, anything is possible.
Right.
So there's nothing holding us back from inventing and being non-limited as a species. And I really hope to see that the human race comes out on top with all of this blockchain and innovation, because if it gets turned into something way too centralized and authoritarian, it could go the other way. Yeah. We could either have mass utopia, or
dystopia.
We could have, a gray dystopian Minority Report, like.
Some Black Mirror shit. Yeah.
Shout out to the creators of the Anon movie on Netflix, because they got it right. If Cop Chain becomes real on Ethereum, that's what this movie is showing. Because they use the word, we're going to jump into the ether, and then he goes into this mind's eye, and he's shown all these data blocks, and it looks like a blockchain. Anybody who's seen this movie knows.
I'm gonna have to check that out. All right.
Yeah, you should watch it.
It's on Netflix, called Anonymous.
It's just Anon. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Anon. I'll have to check that out. I'll watch that after this. All right, well, yeah, man, everybody listening, I want you guys to check out Hercules project. They're utilizing both Bitcoin and Ethereum's blockchain to solve supply issuance issues, as far as, like, that racketeering and collusion and all that bad shit that happens right now in supply chain data. and you can check them out. Go. There's links in the description box. Anything you wanted to talk about before we go, bro?
I just want to show people my shirt. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna moon us. There you go. There's the booty.
Wait. Let's get the. I don't know if I can get this. I want to show people this. Hold up.
There we go. Just take your shirt off.
Nice ceiling, huh?
Oh, you turned it around. Oh, dude, that is sick. Yeah, that definitely should be on the front of the shirt, not the back. That's an approaching image right there.
Yeah.
Where'd you grab that?
Oh man, Redbubble. Shout out to Redbubble. They make all these great content pieces and different shirts for the scene.
Oh, you know, check that out.
And the next time I talk to you, I need you to come down here, bro.
Well, if you guys put on another event, I may be motivated enough to get out of bed. I really don't want to move in 2019. Kind of want to be stationary.
Just keep on making great content, and we'll see you down here.
All right, bro. I enjoyed the time. I really appreciate you coming on, man. And I know in a couple weeks' time, you are going to have more to talk about when it comes to HERC. I had Anthem on, and he was talking about in a couple weeks' time, you may be doing some more stuff to have, come on. So I would love for you to just, schedule another time to come back on, talk about the updates and progress of the Hercules project, and let me know how everything is.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on, Ken.
All right, bro. Have a day.
Cheers, bro.